Steve, get out of my kitchen. Get out of my kitchen.
Just tell us where the $1,400 is.
A grieving mother says this restaurant owner pocketed money that he raised in honor of her teenage son.
You profited off my son's death. How dare you?
The owner of a Roseville restaurant held a benefit for the family, but he never handed over the money that he raised.
She called Kurtis Ming to investigate.
19-year-old Jared Dietrich was killed in a tragic big rig crash in August. At first, his mom thought Jared's boss was helping out with a fundraiser, but then she thought he may have had something else in mind.
From where we're sitting now, it looks like this man, my son's boss, profited off of his death.
Tracy Dietrich says she hasn't seen a dime from the benefit for her son Jared, thrown by his boss, Steve Lightfoot, the owner of Lightfoot's California Cuisine in Roseville.
And this is the most blatant disrespect of my deceased son that I could ever imagine.
19-year-old Jared Dietrich was killed August 10th, driving on 99 in Sutter County. He collided with a big rig, dying instantly.
Anytime anybody needed anything, he jumped on it. That's what he was doing that day. He was taking a friend to buy a truck.
His boss offered to hold a fundraising memorial service at the restaurant for the family.
And we just couldn't believe it. We just thought it was the nicest thing in the world.
The family has these pictures from that night, saying about 100 people showed up to the fundraiser, which Steve said raised $1,400.
Told us he would have it the Tuesday after the fundraiser, and we didn't hear from him.
Adding another layer of suspicion, Jared's last paycheck bounced.
But I've been trying to cash it since Jared died.
Family friend Rhonda says she has spoken with Steve about the money several times in the 3 months since Jared's death.
It's always next week or the 1st or Friday or some excuse.
We came here to the restaurant to speak with Steve, and off camera, he told me this was all just a big misunderstanding. He says he put the money in a CD for tax purposes and admits that was a mistake. He should have just given them the money right away. He told me he cut them a check a week earlier and mailed it to them, yet he couldn't show me a bank statement to prove it.
Tracy never got that check. Steve stopped returning phone calls.
He never got back to you?
Never got back to me. He's never called me one time.
You ready to go talk to him?
I am absolutely ready. I've been ready for a while.
We decided to show up unannounced. But he's not here. A staffer says he should have been in by now, so we wait. After 45 minutes, we are now told he knows we're here and has decided not to come in today.
He doesn't want to talk to us. If he was just honest, it would be different, but he's actually avoiding us.
So we leave. But a half hour later, we get a tip. He's changed his mind about coming to work. So we return.
Steve, what's going on? Where's their money? Steve? Steve? Steve,
Get out of my kitchen. Get out
Steve,
of my
you were supposed to call us back and you never called us back.
Get out of my kitchen.
Just tell us where the $1,400 is.
He retreats to the back office.
He's gonna hide in the office.
He eventually comes out and asks to speak with me outside.
Turn the camera off.
All right, Dennis, turn the camera off.
After talking off camera, he agrees to come clean.
Why didn't they get their money? What's going on?
The restaurant ran into financial problems right afterwards because I spent the money on the memorial service and wasn't able to make payroll and do other things. So I had to take that money to use that to take care of that. And instead of hurting her while she was grieving, I lied to her. And I've hurt her worse.
You were forced to use the money to help with the business?
Yes.
Why didn't you just admit that to the family? I think she would have understood that.
My pride got the best of me. I couldn't do it.
But he's agreed to now.
I needed it, and I used it.
Tracy is glad to hear the truth, but has to let out some steam after he lied to her.
Do you understand that we don't have closure for my son's death and that you made this worse for us? You made this worse for us. You profited off my son's death.
I did not profit
How
off his
dare
death.
you? We have no resolution for my son's death because you did this. How dare you?
And I understand that. And that's the part is when all this went down, I didn't want to hurt you and tell you that I wasn't going to be able to give it to you.
Did you think this wasn't hurting me all this time?
And what I did was hurt you even more.
I spoke so highly of you, like you walked on water when you did this for my family. Told everybody to come in here and patronize this place, and look how this turned out.
What I did to you was wrong. And I never ever meant to hurt you,
I appreciate
Jared's memory, or any of the family. That's all I can tell you.
I appreciate that you're standing here in my face and telling me this. We could have done this a long time ago.
With an apology, Steve promised us last Thursday he'd come up with the money by Friday.
I'll have it for you. Okay.
Do you feel better telling her this, or do you feel worse telling her this? Because
Worse, because I see the tears. and that's probably one reason why I wouldn't do it earlier.
Outside the restaurant, Tracy isn't sure what to think of it.
I want to think the best of everybody, and I want to believe him. So as of now, I'll be here at 5 expecting the best.
But on Friday, Steve called up saying he needed more time. He'd have the money by today. We met up with him this afternoon.
Hi, Steve. How are you? Good. So, what you got for us?
2 checks.
It's been 3 months. He now has 2 cashier's checks, enough to cover the money raised at the benefit and Jared's last paycheck, which bounced.
Does it feel better now having this behind you?
Yes. But nothing I can ever do or say will ever make up for what they went through.
Do you now have closure?
I have the closure I set out for, yeah.
Tracy says it was never about the money. She now plans to use it to honor her son.
We would like to memorialize Jared some way, and we want to donate part of the money because that's what he would have done with it.
26 different companies came forward with donations for the benefit. Tracy says she can now write thank you notes to each of them. Steve says he never meant to hurt anybody and says he loved Jared and even named a menu item after him.
Well, he truly did look remorseful, I must say. It's hard to get into his mind. Did you have any idea how his business is doing now, if he was struggling that badly to begin with?
I know the business opened up this summer, and he says it's been a struggle from the beginning, and he's still struggling today.
Well, it's a tough time to do a business.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting the way it was resolved.
Yeah, and this woman, I mean, just not knowing, and she just said it made things so much worse.
I would imagine.
She couldn't get straight answers out of him, and he kept stringing her along.
Well, that was quite an exchange, Kurtis.
Well, if you thought that was intense, our investigation is just getting started. Steve, just tell us where the $1,400 is.
After exposing this restaurant owner for not handing over money he raised to help the family of a teen killed in a car crash,
You profited off my son's death. How dare you?
we find out there's even more questionable behavior. A bacon bikini fundraiser seen here on YouTube, where he raised money for a charity in his daughter's name. A charity we uncovered doesn't exist.
How did you have an event for a charity that doesn't exist?
What does he have to say for himself? And what does his daughter have to say?
Do you think he was using this fake charity to raise money for himself?
Our investigation continues tomorrow night, only on the CBS 13 News at 10.
Well, Kurtis,
There's more.
I thought that
There's
was it.
more.
You did. You surprised me. I had no idea that you were going to hit us with that one.
Yeah, there's much more on this, and we'll have that tomorrow night at 10.
Wow.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Mr. Bender,